You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on a Friday, Matt, as that road is narrow, partner. It's December.
Yeah.
It's cold outside.
Ravens week.
Ravens week. You know what? I'm glad you said it that way. That's really all that needs to be said.
That's all you said.
It's Ravens week. It's Friday of Ravens week, which means we've got plenty to get into, to discuss, to get ready for what is always. It doesn't matter if these teams were 12-0, 6-6, 0-12, always one that you circle, always one that you highlight, always one that rightfully so in not only Pittsburgh and Baltimore, but across the NFL demands a ton of attention.
Yeah, and I've been giving it some thought late in the week here that maybe it's a good time for Ravens week. You know, like this is going to imply that other games aren't as important or they don't try as hard. And that's not what I mean at all. But it's a different feel in that building for Ravens week. I mean, the Cam Haywards of the world that have gone through many battles with these teams is going to trickle down to the new guys and all that. And frankly, I don't think any of us are thrilled with how the Steelers have played lately.
Yep.
You know, and you could even say that in probably Baltimore's building. You know, that they're not thrilled with certainly their last game.
Totally.
And some things have not gone to schedule. So maybe you get back to a barroom brawl and see where it goes from there. You know, like maybe it's good for you.
I think that's a great way to put it. I was talking to our buddy Chad Tyson, who does afternoons on DVE, and similar kind of thing. Like this feels like I like the barroom ball moniker that you ballroom brawl moniker that you just used there. But like this seems like a kind of an old school, the proverbial like throw out the record books that everybody likes to say. And I know that this has been the case as long as football's been played, as much as the game has changed and evolved and offenses have changed and evolved. So often football comes down to your big guys being better over the course of 60 minutes than the other team's big guys.
Moving people.
And again, we can all argue that in 2025, maybe that means less than it did in 1995.
Probably true.
But I think for this one, for both teams, dealing with some injuries, dealing with some struggles, it is a let's get buttoned up. Let's be on let's be on our on our fundamentals, almost a back to basics. We're going to out physical these guys over the course of 60 minutes, over 3 hours on Sunday, and that's going to be the difference, as it so often is between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a lot less cuteness of we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I mean, the coaches know each other so well.
Second most between any two coaches in NFL history.
Yeah, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, that I think both these coaches would probably even admit after they retire, I coached different against Harbaugh than I did against other games. Totally. I coached different against Tomlin than I did other games. You do it so many times.
Totally.
Right. Yeah.
I think that makes a ton of sense. If you're a legendary pitcher and a legendary batter and you stepped into the batter's box and on the mound against each other 100 times, that's different than someone that you're seeing for the third or fourth time.
He's bringing that curveball.
Exactly right. It's a lot less, I feel like, smoke and mirrors, and a lot more I know you, you know me, we're lining up, let's do this thing, and let's see who blinks first.
Yeah. And there'll be new wrinkles as every game, and then they're certainly not going to game plan differently, but I think it might do the Steelers some good to get back to your grassroots and okay, we just need to be the most physical team out there. We need to block better than them. We need to hit on the rise. We got to get people on, a lot of bodies to the football. Fundamental stuff.
I think that is job number one for both of these teams here on Sunday, 1 o'clock in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium. Matt, we are going to talk to Missi Matthews in a few minutes, but we've got some news of the day to get to here as we get rolling. I think we will have Steelers injury updates here shortly, but we do have some pertinent ones for Baltimore. This happened after you and I were off the air yesterday. But Lamar Jackson, after being a full participant on Wednesday, had a issue Thursday with an ankle injury.
I saw that because I do a Thursday night show with Pursuta, and that came up then. But I'm like, that must have just happened.
Must have just
got revealed, right?
According to Lamar Jackson, according to John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson returned to practice today, Friday, after missing Thursday with that ankle injury that popped up on Wednesday.
Okay.
So he's already
it's not just the hamstring. He's got like 4 different lower body injuries, from what I understand, that he's been battling.
He's got the hockey thing. Like how
lower body.
Upper body injury, lower body injury. Those are the only 2 designations. He's got a lot of lower body injury stuff going on right now, does Lamar. But returned to practice today, but is dealing with some more potentially nagging bumps and bruises associated with play.
Okay.
Lamar will start according is good to play and and all that according to Jim Harbaugh. So that's not the greatest news from the black and purple viewpoint of your quarterback who's already clearly been compromised with injury this year, having something new pop up, Steelers week.
So I have great respect for the betting world in Vegas and their knowledge and all those things.
As we always say, right, there's a reason they have all those big, beautiful buildings out there, and it's not because they're losing money.
1,000%. And as usual, on a lot of my outlets on Friday, we pick games, and especially the big ones. And this is one of the big ones, of course. And I hadn't realized until my co-host kind of laid it out. He's like, the line on this game has been changing rapidly all week, which I assume most of our listeners know. That just means money's coming in on one side rather than the other.
Exactly.
Their whole goal isn't to get the line right. Their whole goal is to get 50% betting on both teams. They don't care if their lines are right, but they are remarkably accurate. And I just wondered, do they know more about this injury? I know they know more about this injury than I do. But I know that much. But that's the only thing I could see changing the lines that much is he playing? Is he not? What version of Lamar are you getting? I assume he's playing, but
Yeah, I think they've been pretty clear that he is playing, but you're right. The big question is what version of him are you getting? That's been an issue for them all season.
Yeah.
But I think particularly in the last few weeks when, again,
brutal, right?
If you watch the games,
he missed a lot of throws against the
missing throws,
Bengals, right?
Not pulling it down and taking off nearly as often as he does. Not the designed runs.
The designed runs are really telling.
I mean, they're almost none.
1 or 2 a game. Yeah, right.
And so that's also though one of those things that while you'll take it, also gives me like the scaries a little bit of
a lot.
It's early fourth quarter. It's cold. It's been physical. You're worn down. Lamar hasn't run it all game. And then in a crucial situation, a 3rd and long or a 4th and short, here comes a Lamar designed run
rocket ship
that he takes 55, 60 yards.
Or just breaks your back on 3rd and 8 on the biggest play of the game.
Right.
It comes down to this play, and then they kneel it out.
Yes, no doubt. And so, again, and I don't mean to be like, everyone gets what I'm saying. I'm not like, Lamar's hurt, great.
Right.
But you will clearly,
that's how that works.
You'll clearly take one of the best. I mean, they're saying the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. His left wrist is messed up. Maybe he'll fumble a snap in a key moment that costs the Steelers. That's just football.
I mean, do it at they're happy Harmon's not playing.
And Broderick Jones.
Right. I mean, you could go on and on. Every game there's something like that. Right.
Kyle Hamilton got ruled out with the flu today, we wouldn't be playing the sympathy card for him.
No.
So as much as a compromised Lamar is a benefit to the Steelers, I think you still have to be – you got to be cautious about that.
It's still a sleeping giant, man.
You got to be cautious
especially
about that knockout punch.
And,
you got to be – that's a good point, too, the 10 days rest.
Is Harbaugh playing games like, how about you don't play? Just take Thursday off, Lamar. You know what I mean? Like, again, the Harbaugh Tomlin, I know that you know, and Coach Austin even said yesterday, we are preparing as if Lamar is 1,000%. And that's the only way you can. I mean, you're crazy if you don't. We're going to pretend like he's all beat up. And you also have to say that to the media, too. But I wonder if there's any gamesmanship going on. But he's not been the same. I mean, I know that.
That I think we can all agree on.
Right.
And so maybe, you won't be.
If they had the Browns record, would he even be playing? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
If he was the Joe Burrow type situation, would he even be playing?
I mean, would it be better if he was not on the field? Probably.
It's a fair question, and maybe we'll get an even better look at that on Sunday afternoon. Matt, another piece of news here, not as significant for Sunday's game, but certainly worth mentioning and discussing and sharing. After returning to practice December 3rd, Steelers cornerback Dante Kent sustained a new injury that will cause him to miss the remainder of the 2025 season. That's a real bummer.
That's a real bummer.
I don't think he was going to have a big role for this team down the stretch, but I think just returning to practice for 3 weeks and getting ingrained and getting back to it to kind of have that to leapfrog into the offseason would have been a nice benefit, a nice timeline for him. But
it's also weird that him and Trice did the exact same thing.
I know.
Their window opens and then they get hurt in their first practice coming back. And they don't have to tell you as much because they're not on the active roster. They don't go on the injury report or whatnot, but did they re-aggravate the same injury, or was it, did they know that there was a chance,
Yeah.
Like, go give it a try. It might not, it's a 50-50 proposition. I don't know, doctor stuff's hard to comment on.
It sure is. And you and I have said many, many times over the years that we don't particularly enjoy commenting on it.
I just know I don't know.
Exactly right. We just know that we don't know.
But I'd be shocked if they were like, well, Dante's coming back. That's why we can release Slay.
Totally.
There's no way they were counting on him. Just
not
to
that quick of a turnaround.
No,
Absolutely not.
We'll be fine. We got he's coming back because how much they know about him.
And maybe that's what they were just hoping to do more of, is find out about him and more data points and see this guy in 3 weeks of practice.
Could use another special team
And maybe he does end up down the fold, gets a helmet in one of the final games of the season or something like that. But we do know now, unfortunately, that will not be the case for Dante Kent, as he has been now ruled out for the rest of the season. Let's take a break here. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue to talk Steelers-Ravens. We'll continue to set the scene with our friend Missi Matthews, Steelers sideline reporter, when we return. All that and more as we roll along. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on a Friday on the Steelers Audio Network. You know the drill when you hear the bounce. It's time to get the view from the sideline. It's time to go down to the field level with the queen of the sideline, Missi Matthews. Missi, thank you so much for taking the time, as always, for us on a Friday. And, it's I think Matt said it well at the start of the show. It's Ravens week, and those are really only, I think, the two words that all Steelers fans need to get the blood pumping, to get the juices flowing. You've obviously been privileged to be on the sidelines over the years for a lot of huge Steelers games, rivalry games, playoff games, primetime games, all that stuff. How is this one different? How's that intensity on the sidelines and out on the field different from, just about every other game the Pittsburgh Steelers play?
I think because it always means something. Very rarely do you find a Steelers-Ravens game where you're like, it doesn't matter who wins, doesn't do anything for either team. That never happens. And I think there's this weird mutual hatred, but also mutual respect between the two teams. You don't have the good old days of, Terrell Suggs and Ray Lewis and Hines Ward and just, the things that used to take place. You don't have that animosity. But I do think that there's still hey, if you're a Steeler, you don't like the Ravens. If you're a Raven, you don't like the Steelers. And they're always fun. There's always, it always comes down to something crazy. It's one of those weird things where the score can be, a number of different ways. They're usually not high scoring. Sometimes it's just field goals, as we have seen in the past. So it never disappoints, I guess, is what I will say in terms of Steelers-Ravens.
So you go there every year and you have for some time now. Is it high or low? I would have best guessed low on your favorite travel destinations during the work year.
Well, okay, so there's a very good restaurant there that I do enjoy.
We all might be going there tomorrow night, Matt Williamson.
All right.
We might already have reservations. Dan Quinlan was working ahead for us on that. Enjoy that. I do like staying in the Inner Harbor. I've stayed at the airport before, and let me tell you, that's not very fun. But M&T Bank is a cool stadium. I don't like the Ravens, but I can appreciate, because there are some stadiums where you're like, this is a dump. This sideline is so small, I'm going to get hit by a cart. I just think the way they set up M&T Bank makes sense. Their press box used to be chef's kiss, but of course, making money got in the way of that. So they kind of moved it so that they could sell those really good seats that were it was probably the lowest press box that I've ever been to in the NFL.
It was the best in the league until they moved it last year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was down low. It was right on the 50. But I also understand that can make you a lot of money because those would be some really good seats to watch.
People pay a lot of money for those seats.
Some corporation, a lot of zeros for that suite.
I would imagine the fans aren't super kind to you guys, though.
No, and when the press box used to be super close, originally, like I just remember Hillgrove, Tunch, and Wolf just telling stories about the crazy people because you could literally hear them. You could talk to them. That's how, you were like basically in the stands, but just kind of boxed off a little bit. But, if you want to open the windows, then you kind of hear some things. And as you can imagine, Ravens fans Tunch might have
gotten into some back and forth with some people wearing purple a couple of times.
Oh, yes.
That's great.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. They got the best of him, and he fought back. I'll give him that.
Matt, something that never gets old is pulling, in and out of stadiums on the team buses when you're on the road. And, of course, everybody gives you their different greetings and salutes and those things. A lot of one-finger salutes in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium for the Steelers when you're arriving and departing on those buses, that's for sure.
I've probably told you the least kind in my Pitt days.
Morgantown, West Virginia?
1,000%. I'm sure you're proud of yourself.
I might have been one of those kids.
You may have been one of them, right?
That was
throwing obscene things at us.
Throwing Pepsi cans at 11 years old at Matt Williamson trying to get off the bus. Missi, I think that all, I completely back you up on all of that. This is a 1:00 game, so it won't be the, quite the under the lights and the light show and all that stuff that they can do there at M&T Bank Stadium. But it's obviously still going to be juiced up. And it feels like there's a lot of key things to talk about, matchups and X factors in this game. But, man, at the top of that list feels like it's the health of both quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, of course, with that fractured left wrist. And Lamar Jackson, who was already dealing with some hamstring and some knee stuff, and then popping up yesterday with an ankle injury as well. It feels like an attrition going on for both of these, former MVP signal callers, and maybe whoever's healthier and able to play their game more on Sunday could, again, be a massive X factor in this one.
Yeah, I was, looking at tweets from people in Baltimore because it's the same thing, earlier practice and coaches and players talk and trying to get a vibe of what's happening since the practice reports aren't out. And the one tweet just said, Lamar Jackson said he's feeling pretty good. And I'm like, oh, that's not like, you're not very confident in how you're feeling if you just say pretty good. And they said it was an ankle injury. He got stepped on in practice on Wednesday, which everyone was excited he was at practice on Wednesday. He wasn't then able to practice yesterday. He was out there today. John Harbaugh said he will start, but kind of something new to monitor in terms of Lamar Jackson and some of the injuries he's dealt with this season.
So I don't mean to bring the mood down, and now it's sort of ancient history, but give me the sideline vibes of Steelers-Bills.
Yeah, that one was not great.
I bet.
Yep, didn't love it. And I have to give credit to Chris Boswell because it does not matter if they are winning by 30 or losing by 30 or whatever. He is the same, has the same temperament the entire time. And I always, it has to happen at least once a game. If it's really loud, I have both of my ear IFBs in, and I really cannot hear. It's noise canceling. I don't really hear around me other than the guys talking of the broadcast. And at least once a game, Boz has to physically move me because I'm in the way of either, Corliss and Christian warming up or him warming up. And even when things weren't going well, the way Boz, hey, Missi, no big deal, just moving you over, same, wasn't throwing me, didn't yell at me, same. But you could just tell for the amount of time that the defense spent on the field, the little time they spent on the bench, it was almost like, putting the helmet back on to go out there. You were almost like, okay, here we go again. And it did just feel like the huge turnover that the Bills scored that defensive touchdown on just dampened the mood, and they could not regroup after that in any phase of the game. So, yeah, and I think I've told Wes, but because he was there. Yeah, Wes was upstairs in the radio booth after the game. That locker room, woo, it was pretty empty and it was very quiet.
I bet.
That was definitely not a good one.
No, it was not, and we are not looking for a repeat of that on Sunday, certainly when it would involve all of us getting on a plane and flying home after the game. Missi, Matt and I talked a little bit in the first segment about how, and maybe there's some similar vibes to this of what we saw on Sunday against Buffalo. We analyze all this. We all spend hours on radio and video, and some people, writing columns and articles and that thing, dissecting every angle and every matchup and all the keys and all the schematics and this and that.
Putting some stats together.
Somebody puts together like a thesis worth of stats packet every single week here on this show.
Might rhyme with his name too.
Yeah, that's right. Might flow very nicely there in that regard. But this one feels, with the current kind of injury status of both teams, with both of them being 6-6 and hot on top of their game and playing the best football that they want to be playing, a back to basics football 101, who's better in the trenches, who's more physical, who's more buttoned up, is going to have the much better chance to win the game Sunday afternoon.
Oh yeah, this one does just feel like it's a must win. And I know you can say that at several points, or like, this is a must win, this will help at the end, but we are in the final 5-game stretch. You're going to see these guys in the final week, which I don't even think what happens this Sunday. The week 18 game is going to mean something to somebody, if not both. Mm-hmm. And it does just feel like, to get out of this skid, of this losing skid, the Steelers have to go down there and put a consistent performance together, both sides of the ball, because what is happening is just not working. And you can tell that everybody wants it to change, but actions speak louder than words. And I don't think anybody in that locker room thinks that just talking about it is going to make them feel better. The Ravens were on a 5-game winning streak until Cincinnati broke that on Thanksgiving. For the Steelers, they're on a 2-game losing streak. They had one of those before, and then they came out with a powerful win against the Colts. So will that be the case again? I hope so, but you don't want to stack a loss here, and then I think you're going to get to the point where you're going to have to worry about what other people are doing. If they can just focus on these last 5 games and what they are doing and doing them well, hopefully that's the direction we're going in. And it's not like last year where you make it into the playoffs, but you're kind of like, oh yeah, we're not playing good football. You want to go in with some steam, and what better time to start than the first week of December?
Missi, I'd really like to get your input on the Harbaugh-Tomlin dynamic relationship. I mean, do you think they prepare differently for one another? Do you think they coach during the game differently because of one another and the familiarity? But really what I want to know is if you've ever paid attention to them interacting pre or post game.
Pre-game for sure. And I think it was on Hard Knocks last year. It was something with the NFL Films where Coach Tomlin kind of joked like, man, we used to talk about what our kids were dressing up as for Halloween,
I think that was.
Right. Like this is the 39th meeting between them, including playoffs. That's no small number of coaches. Of course, they're some of the longest tenured coaches, current active coaches in the league, but I think they have a respect for each other. I think it is you're not going to do anything kind of I don't want to say college level, but almost like, oh, I hate him and I'm not shaking his hand type deal. But I don't think I don't think there's no love lost, put it that way. But I do think that
they don't totally avoid each other, or,
No, not at all.
No.
And it's, it's like every game. You shake your opponent's hand, you hug them, whatever. I'm sure, their small talk before the games has significantly increased over the years. How could it not?
Okay.
And when you're like each other, not saying necessarily the coaching styles. I don't know that much about John Harbaugh. I've covered one Ravens game, maybe 2, in my local TV days back in the past. But I just think that, they respect each other, and they know that they're both trying to do the exact same thing. It's just who can do it better on this day, because they know that if they played the next day, it could be the complete opposite result.
I wonder if, like, 5 years after they're both retired and have given up football for a living and moved on, and their grandparents, if they'd actually be friends. Or I always joke that I hope there's a 30 for 30 or a football life with Ozzie Newsome, Kevin Colbert, Harbaugh, and Tomlin on a fishing boat together, just being honest. You know what I mean? Like, man, you used to make me, or I was about to draft that guy, and Ozzie, you snagged him right in front of me. Or, I bet that'd be great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, or imagine if they just, like, rented out an auditorium. Like, I'd pay to go watch that.
Yeah.
And tell stories.
With nothing to lose,
need it to be produced. Yeah, like, just riff, and let's hear what happened. Really happened.
Missy, last one I've got for you is, we found out a few days ago that it's the 25th anniversary of that 2000s Baltimore Ravens team that beat the New York Giants in the Super Bowl to capture their, first as Baltimore Ravens, of that post-move era. That team with Ray Lewis and that great defense, and Trent Dilfer as the quarterback, coached by Brian Billick, is going to be honored at halftime on Sunday. I'm sure that's not by coincidence that's happening in this game against the Steelers. Are you happy that Max Starks is no longer on the sideline and you're not going to have to hold him back against those guys?
Well, those guys are A, going to be out there during pregame, and B, I'm sure one of them will get announced at some point, almost like when we do the terrible towel twirl. That seems like the appropriate time that they would, honor those guys just, prematurely before the big halftime ceremony. But I remember, I don't remember if it was last year, whichever game it was in Baltimore, there's been a bunch. And some of their former players were there, and Max was just like, I hate him, just standing there. And it was like, it would have been
said the
as
same
if,
thing
like,
about
they played
Max
last week. Yeah, and it was just so funny. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go say hi to him, because Max clearly knows so many people, and it's, every game, hey, I'm going to go say hi to my buddy over here. I'm going to go this. Baltimore week, Max isn't saying hi to anybody. Not at all.
Just Rod Woodson. Just Rod Woodson in the Ravens booth. That's it.
Because they're both in the same profession.
That's still wrong, by the
Rod's
way.
a Hall of Famer. Yeah, Rod is, he likes to play both sides. Obviously, he's working for the Ravens, but did some amazing things with the Steelers as well. And that's probably the only Baltimore person that I can think of that I've ever seen Max have like a chit-chatty conversation with.
Oh, Missy, it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us and taking the time, as always. We'll hear you on the call on Sunday with Rob and Max, and I will see you on the airplane tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
You as well. There she goes, the queen of the sideline, Missi Matthews. And, listen, there's a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times that I envy Missy for getting to be down on the sideline.
You see some cool stuff, I'm sure.
No doubt. And cool stadiums and the atmosphere and all that. Not that my view's bad in the broadcast booth, obviously, but there's plenty of times where I don't envy Missi Matthews on the sideline because of weather conditions.
I say weather.
Maybe it's pouring down rain or it's freezing, and I don't think it's going to be freezing, but it will be cold, obviously, Sunday, December in Baltimore. But even with the weather, I envy it could be 3 degrees and pouring down sleet, and I would still want to be on the sideline for Steelers Ravens just kind of soak it all in and get all the details.
Absolutely.
And it's not often in December. This is probably how I should have said it. It's not often in December that I'm jealous of Missy being down on the sideline because of the weather.
No doubt.
But I will be Sunday. I will be Sunday at 1 o'clock.
That's cool.
Thanks to her for joining us and taking the time. When we come back on the other side, we still got to get into 5-Star Friday. We've got some more kind of ahead of the weekend news across the NFL that we need to get into. All things Steelers, Ravens, and more as we roll along. Uhler, Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. It's a Friday, a lot happening here across the National Football League as we get ready for a massive Week 14. And I guess technically, Matt, it did start last night with Thursday Night Football between the Cowboys and the Lions, and an impressive and assertive performance by Detroit at home as they get a win they deeply, desperately needed, 44-30 over Dallas. And Matt, that might be all she wrote for the Cowboys.
I think it is all she wrote. I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated, but they're down to like 6% or something. They need everything in the world to line up perfectly.
Basically win out.
Yeah.
And get some help in the process as well.
100%. So quite a few things stood out to me. First off, I think the Lions asserted themselves. I picked Dallas to win that game. I don't regret my choice, but I mean, I didn't know St. Brown was playing. I mean, had that Hines Ward feel about the toughness he brings and the clutch ability and all that stuff. Gibbs was the best player on the field and was unbelievably, dangerous, especially in the receiving game. But a couple other things. I mean, the Lions did lose Brian Branch for the season at the end of that game. That's a big, big deal. The turnovers were massive. I mean, it's 3-0 turnover differential. The Cowboys lose CeeDee Lamb, I think, in the second quarter after he was lighting them up. Their protection was a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
I had never heard of the left tackle, the backup left tackle, but I don't feel like I need to do a whole lot of work on him because I don't think he's going to be doing this for a living much longer. But they kept leaving him alone against Hutchinson, and then the other guy on the right side is 3 sacks. I mean, Dak was under
He was like dodging bullets the whole time.
Yeah. And I know it's the topic of the day, and I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but it's not a good look for Pickens. Basically the day you get eliminated, you're trotting through routes and doing a lot of stuff you saw here, And
at a time when CD was out of the game injured.
Right.
When it's like, okay, hey, it's your time. Like,
yeah,
our other big gun on offense is out here. We're on the road. We're in a desperate situation.
Yeah.
That's when you need the cream to rise to the top instead of kind of shrinking in the moment.
And I haven't watched every Cowboy snap like I do the Steelers, but I have not seen that until this point with them. And it wasn't at the very end, the last, like it's the game's over. Like, we need you, man. Where are you going?
And some war of words between him and Richard Sherman in the last 24 hours and all that stuff. And yes, that is, listen, you know how we've said many times this year, the NFL feels like such a week-to-week league this year.
Sure.
George Pickens might be the most week-to-week league player in the National Football League.
Right.
I mean, he's the best.
He's a free agent to be.
He might be the best receiver in the world on certain Sundays and Thursdays
he's as
and
talented
Mondays.
as any.
But he also gives you next to nothing on certain Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. And that is the ceiling and the floor and the loud inconsistency that comes with him. And I think a lot of people that have spent the last month doing the, what the hell were the Steelers thinking thing.
Steelers are stupid.
Last night, we're kind of like, well, okay. You heard that a lot last night. Suddenly all these people were like, yeah, I don't know if I'd pay that guy $30, $35, $40 million
the same people that were telling us, boy, the Steelers worst trade. I've heard people say it's the worst trade in NFL history.
Worst trade in NFL history.
Like,
I mean, it's not even the worst trade in the AFC North history. All right, as the quarterback whose practice window was activated in Cleveland has that award locked up.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it kind of made me laugh.
It was not a good look for George. Right?
No, it was not. But in another kind of timely example, it's like the same people that would always crush James Franklin in Penn State. You can't win a big game and you got to get rid of that guy. Then going, what was Penn State thinking getting rid of James Franklin? I mean,
right.
Come on, you can't
do both.
You can't tell me how bad of a trade it was for the Steelers and then be like, oh, well, that's why you don't want to pay that guy big money. I mean, there's always a middle ground there that, I think realistically, you knew if you were a Steeler fan or somebody who was, just in tune with these type of things.
Yeah.
Couple other significant
Real
pieces.
Quick, though, Detroit, though, too. I mean, they're not out of the woods.
They're not out of the woods.
There's a lot of battling to do.
There's still going to be, in that NFC picture, I mean, there's going to be a good team that gets left out.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And maybe in the AFC, similar type deal. But someone
in the North is going to be left out.
Someone in the North is in likelihood going to be left out.
Yeah.
And that could be a 10-7 team that gets left out.
That's really strong.
Right. And Detroit helping themselves, helping their cause big time last night. Now they've got the extra, few days of rest. But they are, I think that's a good way to put it. Certainly not out of the weeds just yet.
Not at all.
Matt, from that last night, a couple more pieces of news that I want to hit on. One off the back of that game last night, and it sounds like Brian Branch suffered a torn Achilles, and that's a bummer for one of the better young defensive backs in the National Football League.
So that brought me to, I didn't know this until the broadcaster said it last night. I knew the last thing was true, that when you look at like games lost due to injury, the Lions were like the most injured team in the league last year.
In 2024,
In 2024. Okay. And the announcer said this, that they're at the top of the league in injuries again this year, before the Branch injury, going into the game. And just wonder, like, Dan Campbell's a really good coach. I understand why people love him.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I think it's fair.
But it's all gas, no break. You know, like everything's...
It's all whoa, no sick 'em.
All the time. You know, we're just going to keep going for it, play harder,
or all
fight
sick 'em,
knees.
no whoa. Sorry, I said that backwards.
I wonder if he is going to lead towards injuries late in the season, fatigue late in the season. I'm not saying he can never win the big one, but that would be a concern with me with him. And it's not his fault that Brian Branch, tore Achilles, obviously.
Sure. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I just think that's something to be considered with Campbell. All these coaches have strengths and weaknesses. And, he might be too much all the time.
I think that is... It's a fair question to ask.
Yeah, it's just a propose. I don't know the man.
Like when you are all about physicality, hard practices, hard training camps, like you mentioned, even games that they've got teams put away, it's still like they're in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
Right, we're going for it every fourth down. Right, yeah.
And hey, over the course of 17 games, that can certainly catch up with you.
Yes.
I don't think there's any denying that.
Yeah, it just needs to be examined. If I was ownership, I'd be like, okay, is this a trend, or if it's
maybe in
2-3
August,
years
maybe
in
we
a
need to
row,
back off a little bit in August to help our chances in December.
Yeah, or maybe we don't play anyone in the preseason, or I don't know. The Branch loss is big though.
Huge.
More and more true do-it-all slot defensive backs, I don't even want to call them corners, are becoming extremely valuable. I always say they're the lamp that ties the room together. You know what I mean? I think that's
seen
what
a few of them picked in the first round over the last couple of years.
Yeah. And frankly, I think that's what Ramsey was brought here to do. You can do Kyle Hamilton does a lot of this. They come in all shapes and sizes.
Cooper DeJean, Brian Branch.
Perfect one, yeah. I mean, they don't all look like Mike Hilton, and few of them do now anymore.
I was going to say, in fact, most
bigger,
of them look like, they look like safeties.
Right, because they have to tackle Derrick Henry,
Yes.
And Branch is that guy for them. I mean, he's super important, more important than the box score show. It's like, I can't play this coverage
a certain way that they want to play.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I can't call as a play caller without him.
Absolutely, and that's a big, substantial loss for Detroit.
Just a total side note, but like, I think we both agree, and I've said this before, I thought you did too, that the Texans are probably the best defense in the league.
Yes.
You had to pick one.
Yes, if I had to pick one to wear the black and gold this weekend, it might be that Houston defense.
Yeah. And a tape analyst that I really respect said Jalen Petry's our most important guy. You wouldn't think of Jalen Petry. I mean, like, Anderson would be probably Defensive Player of the Year if it wasn't for Myles Garrett. And Hunter...
But
I think those two are still more important.
But I get it.
He's the glue.
He's like the insurance policy on the Porsche.
Yeah, right. Porsche is wonderful.
If Will Anderson is the Porsche, he's the insurance policy.
Like, man, there's so much I can't do
he's the
without
garage
that guy.
That you keep the fancy car in. There's just so much that you can't. The fancy car isn't going to hum like it's supposed to.
He's the case for my phone.
He's the case for your iPhone. That's a great
exactly one. Right. Like, you need to have a
or
good
maybe
one.
he's the gaseline in the luxury sports car.
It doesn't go anywhere. Right.
Yes, it's not going anywhere without that. Yeah, that iPhone is going to get real cracked and damaged without that.
The version they give you in the box isn't going to last very long. Right.
He's like the nice wine glass.
Right.
It's about the wine.
The wine's
but you
great,
need somewhere to hold it.
Exactly.
That's a really good example. I like that, and I think you're right. I think a lot of defenses, that's a real calling card for them now. And I think
they're realizing it, and people are paying them and paying up for them in the draft. And
if you and I had Mike Tomlin on back in July at the start of training camp and gave him truth serum, I think you're right. I think that would have been the type of role that they were envisioning for Jalen Ramsey before things got started.
And I don't think Ramsey failed at that role.
No.
I think he's semi-failed as he's not an outside guard Jamar Chase all day, Darrelle Revis guy.
But I think if you were still if Deshaun Elliott's still healthy, if you had hit on one Thornhill, I think we'd still see Ramsey doing a lot of that stuff.
And I know this is totally made up, but I mean, if you didn't have to trade Minka for Ramsey be in the slot, Minka be a free safety.
Perfect scenario.
Right. If you'd given up a draft pick instead of Minka.
Matt, looks like Jaden Daniels will play for the Commanders against the Vikings this weekend since that dislocated left elbow, nasty, ugly injury about a month ago on November 9th. The Commanders are 3-9 and have nothing to play for. I understand, though, that he's still just a sophomore in this league. He's a second-year guy, and every rep is important. Matt, what's our favorite TV show on Hulu?
The Bear.
The Bear.
The Bear.
And what's the big line in The Bear? Every second counts. I mean, every rep, every game counts for Jaden Daniels at this stage of his career. But, man, I really hope they're not rushing him back early in a season that's already gone and a guy that's been banged up all year.
I think it's similar to Burrow coming back, but they're further down. They're further gone. You know, like
they're 3-9.
They're 3-9, and he's not the wealthiest guy on the team. I mean, he's the face of the franchise. Don't get me wrong, but Burrow's playing, and you can't stop him. You know, and
he's been there for a long time.
Yeah,
he's the alpha in the room.
And they just beat the Ravens, and they may even beat the Bills this week. I mean, like, when we start picking games.
Higgins is back, by the way.
I know. Since he looks good. But I don't know if they can come back or not. But Washington has no chance. And I think I would have shut Daniels down.
I get it. And you know, Dan Quinn saying, like, at his point in his career, every rep counts, every game matters. And I do think that there's truth to that. I do.
Sure. He has work to do.
He needs to develop. Like, Wolf used to lament this all the time. He'd be like, the only way to get better at playing football is by playing football.
Yeah.
And we play less football now than we ever did before.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's right.
He is absolutely right. But there is also the big picture, the longer term. He is only in his second year, and you hope he's your quarterback for another 15 years, and 12 years.
An injury-filled year. He had some injury concerns at LSU as well. You know, he's not the biggest, burliest Josh Allen-looking dude either. I get both sides. I mean, I loved that Burrow said, well, I get paid to play football, so I play football. And I love football. And that's what I want my quarterback to say, you know. I don't want to be like, well, they shut me down, and that's okay. I'm just going to sit on the sidelines, the clipboard, you know, You know.
I think you are right, though. It's a little different when you're like what's Burrow now in his 6th or 7th season year veteran, as opposed to a second-year guy who is, the face of that team, but still trying to earn your stripes, still trying to come along in your career.
I mean, everyone knows how important he is to the Commanders.
No doubt.
But, you know, obviously, but still.
They're hoping he's Joe Burrow-type value for them going forward.
Course.
And so, either side, whatever happens, I'm not going to act like if they play him, I'm not going to act like it's the worst colossal mistake we've ever seen.
Or if he gets hurt again, it's not like fire Quinn because he's dumb. You know, like, anyone can get hurt. You know?
Anyone can get hurt, especially on that turf there, like we talked about.
Oh yeah.
Like we talked about yesterday. Right? Although I don't know if it's a home game or if it is in Minnesota. So never mind on that one, at least for this Sunday. Matt, first hour of the program in the books. Another hour to go. When we return for hour number 2, it's going to be jam-packed, as Gene Wilder would have said in The Chocolate Factory, so much to do and so little time. 5-Star Friday, around the NFL Week 14, and, of course, all of our final thoughts and predictions for Steelers-Ravens Sunday, 1 p.m. at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. All of that and more as we get into hour number 2 on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
Five-star matchup because we're in.
Five-star matchup. Everybody we play is a five-star matchup because we in it.
Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here on a Friday, as all eyes on Steelers, Ravens, and a massive Week 14 across the National Football League. We are going to get into both of those things as we roll along here, Matt. But it is time for a little 5-Star Friday. Quite simply, just a fancy name to dress up a matchup segment here.
Yeah.
And I do think I should preface this with something we talked about a little bit yesterday, something we mentioned in the first hour of the show. This doesn't seem as X's and O's and matchup-centric
I'm struggling for him,
as it typically does.
I don't see a ton of individual this guy versus this guy, situations.
It's not both teams are dealing with some significant injuries that create questions there. Both teams have had some legit roster turnover at legit positions, and so it's Aaron Rodgers hasn't been part of this before. Jalen Ramsey hasn't been part of this.
That's what you're saying,
before.
Right. Both quarterbacks have injury concerns.
Both
as you mentioned with
quarterbacks have
Missi.
injury
Yeah, right.
concerns, and maybe that's kind of like would be the first in a weird way thing to highlight from a matchup standpoint is they're not on the field at the same time and they don't compete against each other, but Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson,
what versions of them are you
two
getting?
former MVPs, which one can be the truest to their own form, which version of themselves, which one is going to look the most like themselves and play the best on Sunday. That's a huge, massive factor in this one. And again, not a head-to-head matchup, but kind of a similar type juxtaposition.
Right. Like if you told me I'm getting 100% of what Rodgers can do and 50% of what Lamar can do.
Advantage Steelers, massively.
Yeah. Let alone Lamar's the bigger wild card. I know Rodgers can throw it as well as he's ever been able to throw it.
I agree with you on that.
Where Lamar, everything he does has been compromised. His accuracy, his throwing, his the game planning for ability to run. But I do definitely think, and says some numbers to back it up, that the inability to go under center was big for Rodgers, and some of the handoff stuff wasn't great, and ball security could still be an issue, ball fakes, things of that nature too. And frankly, he hasn't played as well as we know he's capable of playing too. Neither one has. Jackson's is a little more explainable.
And this is another matchup that isn't, Kyle Hamilton versus DK Metcalf. Although maybe we should probably talk some in that regard. Yeah. But for both of these offenses, the line of scrimmage and the run game.
Yeah.
Whoever establishes there, whoever has more success there, Derrick Henry in that Ravens front, Warren and Gainwell in that Steelers front, possessing the football, keeping their defense off the field, taking things off of their quarterback's plate, by being able to run successfully and how much that would benefit both of these injured and banged up quarterbacks. That's another one that seems like it's at the forefront.
I 1,000% agree. And so the last several matchups against Baltimore, we've seen Baltimore have a lot of success on the ground. One, Henry was ripping them up when they're keen on Lamar.
The last time these teams played 11 months ago, 299 rushing yards. Basically 3 Bills.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically Darnell Washington out there.
So I think this is like one of the best and unique backfields in NFL history when they're both right.
Agreed.
Lamar's as good a running quarterback as we've ever seen. Henry's a Hall of Famer. But their styles of running the football couldn't be any different. Such thunder and lightning.
Nice thunder and lightning. Both at the same time.
More than any backfield I can even think of. TJ. Whatever.
It'd be like if you gave Josh Allen Barry Sanders.
Yeah, exactly. Like someone totally different than you, which makes it a nightmare. Not to mention all is he holding it? Is he keeping it? Zone read stuff, all that.
That killed the Steelers last time these two teams
That's where I'm
lined up.
going with it is I think we'll probably find out early, although I think what you said to start the show of Lamar might scramble for 8 and break your back at any point, even if you think that's not part of them. But I would bet that they don't do a lot of the zone read stuff. That I think you can at least entirely key on Henry. Because it seemed like they never had the right answer. They're keying on Lamar and Henry's gashing them. They're keying on Henry and Lamar's gashing them. You know what I mean? Like, no matter which side of the coin I pick, it comes up the other side. Not some that's on the Steelers' execution, but I would hope in this one, I'm just focused on stopping Henry.
Yes.
I'm going to play this as if Henry's getting every carry. You know what I mean? For better or worse.
I think at least to start, that should be the mindset.
Until proven otherwise.
Matt, we do have the injury report.
Good.
I want to get to that in just a second, but first, we know the Steelers like to throw the ball short. We know the Baltimore Ravens, in terms of EPA, since they moved Kyle Hamilton back up closer to the line of scrimmage, have been the best in the NFL in that regard. How do you get the ball to DK Metcalf in space? How do you get your tight ends involved over the middle against a defense that is so an area where you've struggled against a defense who really accelerates in that realm? Because even if you're able to run the ball successfully, you still have to have somewhat of a threat in that area.
No doubt about it. So I really hope in this game in particular that they run the ball a higher percentage of the time, unless they get down heavy on the
Sure.
Sure. Because in a way, you can excuse away the sideways throwing that we've seen all year. Well, that helps me get quick completions and helps my time possession. Yes, but it doesn't establish the same thing. I mean, it's kind of cheating off your buddy's paper. You know what I mean? And frankly, I just think the quarterback might just need to hold the ball a little longer and wait for routes to develop 8 to 12 yards downfield more. You know, I mean, they don't even have to be in the middle of the field. That'd be nice. But let's see some intermediate passing. It feels a little Russell Wilson where it's either I got my putter or my driver. You know, you get the irons out. You know what I mean? You know?
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Great analogy. And I think you need every club in that bag.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
especially because they're so good at eliminating the
especially because they're taking your putter away.
Right.
So you better not only be able to hit your driver, you better have something else.
5-wood iron out or whatever, you know?
Look at you. See? I mean, you're always talking about how you're afraid to get into golf because you'd get addicted to it and spending too much money. And throwing
I can
out
speak that non-intelligently about it.
Here's what we got for the latest for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the injury department. Kyle Duggar is out.
Ooh.
Against the Ravens with that hand injury. Unfortunate there.
His physicality would be good for this game, as well as tight end stuff. And
his physicality would have been very welcomed. And he's been, as you labeled it yesterday, he's been a success story here.
Yes.
That's a trade.
Totally agree.
That's a trade that the Steelers would make again 10 out of 10 times with what they've gotten from him.
Wouldn't mind bringing him back, too.
Wouldn't mind. Certainly him being in the fold next year. He will be out against the Ravens. That's a tough one for this game, and particularly for this opponent, and considering how he had been playing. Calvin Anderson also ruled out with a knee injury. Derek Harmon too, but we knew that on Tuesday. Kyle Duggar and Calvin Austin both out. Hand injury for Duggar, knee injury for the offensive tackle Calvin Anderson. Although you want some good news?
Sure.
Joey Porter Jr., James Pierre, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Queen, all no injury designation and will play against the Ravens.
I think there was those balls were up in the air a little, not on Rodgers, but I mean, I'm
wasn't surprised that at least Patrick Queen and Joey Porter Jr. and
those
even
are the two
Pierre weren't questionable or probable or
I guess we're to the point where concussion protocol can play its course and you can get through it.
Sure.
I mean, easy for me to say, but maybe it was a mild concussion. I don't know.
Yeah, I always wonder how that that to me feels a little bit like. Are you pregnant or are you not?
Right.
Are you concussed? Or, no one's a little bit pregnant. You're either you're either pregnant or you're not. You're either concussed or you're not. But again, we're not doctors. We don't like to cannonball into that deep end very often. But yeah, good news for Pierre after being a full participant Thursday. He must not. We can at least say that he must not have had any setbacks.
Must have been and breezed through it as well as you can.
Yes.
Good.
So
I am curious to see what his and Samuel's usage looks like. I would imagine Pierre's your starter.
I would almost be shocked if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Him, JPJ, and Eccles.
Yeah, I think those are the three that you're going to play until further notice.
But I expect to see at least a noticeable amount of Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah.
Maybe not a massive role.
Corners don't usually rotate.
But that's
I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's why I'm kind of interested.
Yeah. Okay, right now, if you had to set a number over-under on snaps that he plays.
Probably few.
10?
10, yeah. I mean, and less
because that's what at times
unless Pierre's getting picked on. I mean, that's the thing. He's gonna have a shorter leash.
There's times.
It also wouldn't blow me away if they're like Samuel's really impressive. He's our starter now, but Pierre's earned it.
I think Pierre has earned it.
I think so too.
I know Pierre has earned it.
Yes,
we've seen him be one of the lone bright spots. I think on that defense consistently over the last few weeks. I think 10-ish, 11, 12 is about right because that's kind of what we saw. And I know it's different, same church, different pew that everybody loves it so much that I say when I say that in the comments of Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
But it was kind of similar for him at times when we were seeing him being used 12 snaps a game, 14 snaps a game.
I assume he'll be the starter now with Duggar out, though. And that's one potential bright spot for me. Is I've been excited about Peppers and just haven't got a chance to really analyze him, which might tell you all you need to know.
Is he the one man gathers what another man spills? Is he the one who gets the biggest uptick this week in the absence of Duggar?
I would assume so. I would think.
I would assume so too, but nothing would shock me.
They like Clark more than I like Clark, I guess is one way of putting it.
I think I think everybody likes Clark more than you like Clark, to be fair. But
yeah. Back to the corner thing, though. They never put 3 receivers on the field, though.
that also,
I mean,
that's
then just kind of dawned on me who you're playing, too. You don't need these guys against Patrick Ricard.
Unless there's an injury or a disaster performance, maybe it's under 10 snaps.
Yeah, I mean, Eccles might not play a ton of snaps. It's just not a big corner opponent.
No, it's not. And maybe it's more so the Miami Monday night game next week where we see more of Asante Samuel Jr. and an offense like that wants to spread you out and attack everywhere. But that's what we know right now.
Okay.
Duggar out, Calvin Anderson out, Joey Porter Jr., James Pierre, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Queen, all good to go.
So real quick on Anderson, Pete's going to be the left tackle. I don't know who the swing tackle is. I guess Cook, would be.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, hopefully you don't need that guy at all because other Anderson's going to be the fourth guy. But I'm talking about if you were to lose Faltanu or Pete, Anderson would have gone in. Calvin, injured Anderson.
Yes.
So Anderson
Dylan
gets
Cook
confusing.
would be that guy now, I
assume that would be Dylan Cook.
If you were going to do any swing tackle type stuff.
Somebody else is going to have to be active.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, in case of injury only. But yeah.
I think yes. I am certainly there with you that I think someone's going to have to be active.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Dylan Cook.
I assume it'll be Cook, right?
It sounds like Chuck, according to our boots on the ground reporters on Twitter, it sounds like Chuck Clark's going to be the one who gets the first crack at it against his former team. Now,
kind of thought that, but
we've seen times where Slay was introduced as a starter and then was still way outsnapped by Pierre. So maybe Chuck Clark starts, but Peppers ends up playing more snaps than him. I don't know.
Certainly possible, but I mean, Clark is a thumper in the run game. You mentioned everybody likes Clark more than me. I might just like Peppers too much.
Ooh.
It could be the other angle to that because he isn't seeing the field much since he's been here. Maybe he just hasn't been impressive. It's hard to judge that one.
If
he's not on the field, it might be told you everything you need to know.
Sure. Well, that's going to be another the tea leaves will tell us everything we need to know Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
or not even the tea leaves, just the snap distribution and the share there and how it's broken down between those guys.
But I mean, they throw tight ends a lot, and your strong safety is going to be very involved in that.
Very, very, very much so. And they just gave one of those tight ends a 3-year contract extension this week. And yeah, we know how much Andrews and Likely are likely to be a massive part of their game plan. Yes. Twist my mustache as I say that one. When we come back here, let's take a look around Week 14 in the National Football League. We'll do our traditional Friday Around the League segment. As we alluded to earlier in the week, I think it was Wednesday, we broke down the different playoff scenarios and all of that.
Yeah.
It's a massive Sunday for a lot of different teams across the National Football League in terms of division races, wild card races, playoff picture. We'll get some thoughts, some predictions, all of that around the league when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. It is December. It is Week 14. That road is getting awfully narrow across the National Football League, and we have got some very, very important games to discuss. Of course, that one last night that we talked about earlier, Detroit 44, Dallas 30. Good for the Lions, not out of the woods, but in a much better spot. And for the Cowboys, borrowing a Christmas miracle, you could kiss it goodbye on the 2025 season in terms of their playoff hopes. Although I bet you they'll still factor into that thing down the stretch.
Or they can still beat anybody.
They can still beat anybody.
Yep.
They still have some big matchups against other teams that are jockeying for playoff spots and seeds. And so I'm sure the Cowboys will still play a role in this, albeit very unlikely as a postseason participant.
What I can tell you, though,
you just hate to see that. You just hate
what's
it.
that?
Cowboys not going to the playoffs. It just breaks my heart.
I will say, the Quinn Williams deal and the stuff they did lately is really for next year. I mean, they're set up really well for next year. They got a ton of picks. They'll just draft defense like crazy. Pickens will either get franchised or extended.
I was going to say that's really kind of the only big off-season thing for them.
But they could franchise him and tick him off or whatever.
True.
Right. He won't leave.
I would be very surprised if he's not wearing that star on his helmet, which, by the way, I know Dallas. I know their thing is like the white jerseys, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Cowboys thing. Man, those navy blue ones with the silver pants like they wore last night, those are sharp.
I don't care about jerseys.
I know. That's for us millennials, right?
Yeah.
You don't look at anybody in the NFL and go, oh, man, that's a good look.
Rarely. I mean,
I like that
powder blue Chargers back in the day.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Steelers, obviously, look. I'm a big fan of the Raiders, look. I like those Cowboys, those navy blue ones they wore last night. Those are sharp, man. Along with, I'm a huge fan, I think, like everybody is, of the Atlanta Falcons, the old Dirty Bird uniforms and throwback helmets that they wear a few times a year. They are at home Sunday at beautiful Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 7-point underdogs to one of the best teams in the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks. Matt, Seahawks traveling east for a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, right.
Can they continue to do what they do as 7-point favorites?
Their offense didn't have to do anything last week, and frankly, didn't even play that great. But
their offense hasn't done much the last month.
No.
And they've still been rolling for the most part.
I'm definitely taking Seattle in this game, though. The road stuff doesn't sway me at all. I mean, I think Atlanta's in a really bad spot right now. They're crumbling fast.
Same. I would like this more if it was 6.5 as opposed to 7.
Yeah.
But
it's a pretty big number for a home team.
But I still think with the way Atlanta's playing, with the way Seattle plays on the road, no matter where they're at, time zone, time slot, I will lay the 7 with the Seahawks. In Buffalo, hey, Cincinnati, they're probably too far gone to get back into the playoff conversation. But they had a big factor in the playoff conversation Thanksgiving night by knocking out the Ravens. By knocking out the Ravens in Baltimore. Now they've got a chance to go to Buffalo and put a knock into the Bills Sunday at 1 o'clock. Buffalo is 6-point favorite at home against Cincinnati. I might take the points.
I'm jumping all over the points. I think Cincinnati's playing pretty well. I've done some homework on them lately.
Defense is much improved.
Yeah, defense doesn't stink anymore.
Albeit was not a high bar to clear.
Right.
But the defense is much improved.
Yeah, it's below average as opposed to being garbage.
A disaster.
Right.
Yeah, it's just bad instead of being a disaster.
And this might make Steeler fans feel a little better. I mean, nobody was happy when Chase Brown ran all over them in the first meeting. But the Bengals' run game is second in EPA in the whole league since Flacco took over, including Burrow. So,
wow, that is impressive.
Yeah, like their offense is humming, and Higgins is back, as you mentioned. There might be like 90 points scored in this game. I really think that these two quarterbacks could be the most fun game of the weekend. I'm definitely taking the points, and I think the Bengals could win.
By far the biggest over-under of the weekend.
I haven't looked at any over-unders.
Close.
Okay.
Just to paint the picture for you, the second biggest over-under of the weekend is Rams at Cardinals, 47.5. Okay.
Which is a reasonably big number, of course. This one
53.5.
Wow.
So it's a touchdown more than the next closest game.
And I assume there'll be some sort of weather in Buffalo.
And I was just gonna say December at Orchard Park, but that's still not enough to.
I don't like either one of these defenses, even if they are both playing a little better. But yeah, I love the quarterbacks. I don't like the defenses.
I'm with you on that. I do think Buffalo finds a way to pull it out.
Probably.
But I think Cincinnati's going to give them all they can handle. I'll take +6.
I think this could. It wouldn't shock me if Cincy won.
Staying in Ohio, although that game's in Buffalo. So let's move to Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio specifically. Huntington Bank Field Stadium in Cleveland, where they host the Titans in what is not the sexiest matchup of the Week 14 slate.
Pretty horrible.
Titans at Browns. Matt, you know how sometimes I like to laugh at this? You could see like the lowest
the prices,
the lowest get-in ticket prices. You know, like for example, Packers host the Bears this weekend, right? Cheapest ticket, $140.
Yeah, big time game.
Tickets as low as $7 in Cleveland this weekend for Browns. Far cry from like Bob Labriola was telling us about yesterday, the days of 80,000 people at an exhibition game fighting for tickets.
That reminds me of like pre-Lemieux Penn games. You could get in for like $1 or
dude,
scalpers or whatever.
Go buy a Pepsi and your can would be a free ticket and stuff like that. There'd be times, Matt, where it'd be like a Friday or Saturday night, and my dad would be playing a concert, and me and my buddy Justin, I still remember this like it was yesterday, we'd be 13, 14, 15, something you probably couldn't do nowadays as a parent. No cell phones, nothing.
Yeah.
My dad would drop us off at the Igloo before he'd go play his concert at Heinz Hall.
Okay.
So he'd drop us off at like 6:30, and he'd be like, meet me right back here at 9:30. Like
the street corner.
I don't care if the game goes into overtime. I don't care what happens.
I'm
Like
driving by
here,
at
9:30.
Yeah, okay.
And we'd go with like $5 in our hands, and we'd go get a hot dog at 7-Eleven and scalp a ticket and go into the, go into the game.
And that wasn't even pre-Lemieux. Like, people cared about the Pens then.
Right.
Like, when I was that age, you get in with
that was post Lemieux,
there was some
pre
downtimes.
87.
Yeah.
Matt, I told you the Buffalo game, the Buffalo Cincinnati game, biggest spread of the weekend. I don't think it will surprise you when I tell you that Titans and Browns by far the lowest over-under of the weekend.
Oh,
I meant over and under there with Buffalo and Cincinnati. Pardon me, not spread. Just 33.5 for this one. Cleveland, a 4.5-point favorite at home against Tennessee.
This actually has massive draft implications. I mean, right now, Tennessee is the number one spot.
If you're a fan of one of these two teams, you might want them to lose this game.
Right. I think you do, especially if you're Tennessee for sure. Like, having number one for Tennessee would be great and hold a ransom from,
maybe you could trade it to Cleveland for their 2 first-round picks.
Myles Garrett might set the record in this one, too. I think he only needs like 2.5.
Dan Moore Jr., can you do something for me, buddy?
Oh, man. I think clearly the Browns defense is the best unit times 1,000.
Oh, without a doubt.
I can't have the Browns give points to anybody. I'll take points. I'm taking points.
If it's like 2.5 or something like that, it might be a different story. But are the Browns going to beat anybody by 5 or more?
In a game that might be like 11-10.
I'm just glad you didn't say 13-9. I'll take the 4.5 with Tennessee as well. In Minnesota, staying in the 1 o'clock slate here, the Vikings and the Commanders, 2 of the better teams in the NFC last year who have certainly taken a step back and not having the year that they want to have this year. This, to me, makes it seem like Vegas knows that Daniels is going to play, or maybe they're just
got announced like 10 minutes ago that he's playing. He's definitely the guy, yeah.
Because the Commanders are 1.5-point favorites in Minnesota on the road.
And I'll take them. I don't know what to expect from Daniels. It's just I just know what the quarterback situation is.
I was going to say the Minnesota quarterback situation, it's so bad, Matt, I'm considering starting Romeo Doubs over Justin Jefferson on my fantasy team on Sunday.
Yeah, I've been asked that a bunch.
That's how bad. Jefferson got me 0 points last week. My first pick, like 5th overall, got me 0 points last week.
It's not his fault at all.
And it's not his fault at all.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to lay the 1.5 with Washington as well. Mm-hmm. It's not even that I feel confident about them, but that Vikings offense can't do diddly right now. I can't believe that's over under of 43.5. I can't believe that's not down in the 30s.
Any Vikings game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Washington played much better last week than Minnesota did.
They did.
I mean, they're definitely not hanging it up.
Like, Washington has not been a pushover.
No, not at all.
They haven't been Cancun on 3 yet.
Nope.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's go to East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the World Cup draw just happened today. Favorable draw for the United States of America. Certainly, we couldn't mess this one up. Miami at the Jets, MetLife Stadium, where the World Cup final will be played at, I think, some point in July. Maybe when we're all out in Latrobe, we'll watch it at Sharky's together. Jets are 2.5-point underdogs at home, so Miami favored by 2.5 points in East Rutherford.
Jets are playing hard still, too. I mean, I think they're trying to save a job.
Both of these teams are.
And I say this is a game that Miami usually loses. Late division game,
nothing to play
cold,
for.
I'm going to take Miami, though. I think they're trying to save his job, too. They've played pretty well lately.
Matt, this is one of the more surprising lines for me of the weekend in the sense of 2.5-point favorites Miami is. I thought that would be more like 4.5, 5.5.
Yeah, I think
so
they're
I'll lay the 2.5.
Like in the power ranks, I bet there should be 8 teams better, than the Jets.
At least.
Yeah, at least. Like they could be middle of the pack right now the way they're playing.
I will lay the 2.5 with Miami. That seems a little rat poisonish, like too good to be true, but I'm going to do it anyways. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Big opportunity for Tampa Bay to take care of business against a team that they should. With the Panthers on the bye, that would give them the full leg up. It's the half game advantage now. Right. It would give them the full game advantage if they take care of business. Matt, they are tied as the biggest favorite this weekend the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 8.5 points. Only the Rams is big of a favorite. At home, Tampa Bay, you laying 8.5 against the Saints. Are you counting on Tyler Shuck to maybe keep it a little close?
I guess I'll take the Bucs. I don't love that number.
I do not love.
I thought it'd be more like 7-ish,
not
6.5,
even close to
something
that
in that
number.
neighborhood. But yeah, I think the Bucs are getting healthier. I'm not sure if Evans will play or not, but Godwin and Bucky are back to being themselves, which goes a long way. It's a game they need. But it's a big number.
I think I'm taking the plus 8.5 with New Orleans.
Okay.
I could see them scoring a late touchdown, something like that. And Tampa has been.
Shuck's not bashful. I mean,
he's not.
He is aggressive and
that's it. Like they're another team, kind of like Washington. Despite only having 2 or 3 wins, like they haven't set sail on the offseason just yet.
Not at all.
They haven't been a pushover, and they've got a young rookie quarterback who's trying to prove that this is my job. Don't draft somebody next year.
He's aggressive.
I like Tampa to win, but I'll take the 8.5 with New Orleans.
All right.
Big one, Matt, in the AFC South. Jacksonville hosting Indianapolis. The winner is going to have an inside track to win the division. Pardon me. The winner is going to have an inside track to win the division. The loser is going to be fighting with Houston and trying to stay in the playoff hunt and in a wild card spot. 1:00 in Jacksonville, where the Colts are a slight road favored by 1.5.
So, you know how some divisions have those weird home road splits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Colts never win in Jacksonville. They just never
just
do.
One of those fluky things.
Even when they're the better team, it's just they never win there.
Steelers never win in Chicago. Colts never win in Jacksonville. Although, that's not a divisional matchup, but you get what I'm saying.
I know the last time they won there, Andrew Luck was their quarterback. I mean,
wow.
And it was like Kobe Fleener. I mean, like they were it was a long time ago.
And there's been some bad Jags teams.
Yeah, right.
Between
It's
now
not like
and then
one.
That you would have thought
it's not Steelers Browns. You know what I mean? Or Bears Packers that we'll get to, I'm sure, here.
Rams Cardinals.
Right, exactly. No Buckner, no Sauce.
It's true. It's a big loss. No
Lawrence
Sauce,
has played a lot better since Jacoby Myers has been there. Now there's some Monday morning quarterbacking, but Jacoby Myers would have been a good Steeler.
Cool, buddy.
I'm just saying.
Would he have?
Yeah, we've seen him in a new place. I think the Colts are in a really tough situation. Do me a quick favor, too, because they've played 2 really difficult games. Now, this is a place they never win.
They've lost to Kansas City and Houston the last 2 weeks.
Look at the rest of their schedule.
At Jacksonville, at Seattle, hosting San Francisco, hosting Jacksonville, at Houston. My Lord.
I don't think they're going to playoffs. I mean, remember when we previewed Steelers-Colts? It was like, this team's dynamite. They might be the 1 seed. Now they got a quarterback with a broken leg. Sauce they gave 2 picks for is hurt. And that schedule's awful.
Awful.
Yeah.
Man. They do still have Jacksonville twice and
That's
Houston.
Super key.
So
they need to win 2 of those, I would think.
I think they need to win 2 of those. Seattle and San Francisco, hey, if you could split one, great, but they're also the NFC games, so a little bit of a different beast. They're 8-4 right now.
I mean, they could win or lose any of them, but they're not in a great place with how they're playing, and it's just tough game after tough game after tough game, starting 2 games ago.
Of those 5 tough games, I think they need to go at least 2-3 and win the right ones.
Mm-hmm. They're in the right one.
Like if they're 10-7 and they win the right ones, they could still have some tiebreaker stuff.
Beat the Jags twice would be huge.
But they already lost to Houston.
Right.
They do play the Jags twice, but they already lost to Houston once. Ooh. They did beat the Chargers, though, so they would have a tiebreaker over the Chargers.
Yeah,
that helps.
I don't think the Chargers are super threatening. It's just the rest of their schedules are so bad for the Colts.
I'd say they did beat the Broncos, but that's not going to help for a tiebreaker because the Broncos are going to be divisional champions. They lost to Kansas City if somehow the Chiefs were able to catch them. They lost to Pittsburgh if somehow they end up being in a wild card fight with the Steelers.
Funny you brought up the Chiefs, and we'll get to them because if they beat Houston, the rest of their schedule is really favorable. That's how we were comparing them today on a show, was Colts and Chiefs' remaining schedule is night and day.
It's a Jekyll and Hyde difference, certainly. Taking Jacksonville plus 1.5?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Into the 4:00 slate here. The Raiders.
I'm not taking them.
One of the disappointments.
No, I'm done with the Raiders.
Of the National Football League season. They welcome the Denver Broncos. There will be a ton of orange there at Allegiant Stadium. Broncos, get this, Matt, second lowest over-under of the week, but a massive spread. These ones always
that's
intrigue me a
always
little
weird,
bit.
yeah.
The over-under only 39.5 points. Denver, a 7.5 point favorite on the road in Viva.
So I never look at things this way, but my co-host had a really interesting observation about this game versus Bears-Packers. They have like the exact same line. The Raiders are like the worst team in the league. Denver's a 2 seed as we speak.
That's so true.
And Bears-Packers are like dead even big-time playoff football, and they're both like a 7-point spread. Like, what's wrong here? What am I missing?
Something's not adding up.
Right.
Something's not adding up.
I mean, I don't think Denver blows anyone's doors off, but
That's
I'm
the
not
only thing
ever
for
betting
me.
on. Yeah.
Is I would look at this and I'd think it'd be more a 9.5, 10.5
Yeah.
Denver spread, but they just don't really blow teams out.
They don't. They just win with defense and grind
They
you
win
out
with defense and grind you out and wear you down, and it's.
I just can't take the Raiders. I think they're so hideous. Right
I
now.
will lay the 7.5 with Denver, and like I said, if it was 8.5 or even 9.5, I'd probably still consider doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not putting any faith in Vegas in anything other than to be firing some more people other than Chip Kelly once this season ends. Speaking of that game at Lambeau, a huge one for playoff implications. Both of these teams in all likelihood going to the playoffs, I think, but who's going to win the division and get home field advantage? Green Bay hosting Chicago.
Yeah. Great game.
Great game. 6.5 point favorites are the Packers.
I'm really warming up to Green Bay lately, but I'm taking the points.
I think both of these teams are legit playoff teams. All the kind of doubt about Chicago, I'm not saying I think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I think they are a legit good playoff team.
I do too.
I'm going to take the points.
I'm going to take the points. I think they can run the ball. Yeah.
But you giving me that Chicago team that's won, 8 of their last 9 and playing really well and has a talented offense and can run the ball. You giving me 6.5 with those guys? Yeah, I'll take it.
They're getting a little healthier on defense than when the Steelers played them as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw this out too, though, that I think the MVP race is basically narrowed to May versus Stafford, with Stafford probably having the edge.
I would just real quick without thinking a ton about it. That sounds right.
Love isn't far off. I mean, well, everyone's a distant third, but no one even mentions him. He's having a
great season.
An unbelievable. He has like 3 interceptions all year. I mean, he's playing just behind those guys.
He has been sneakily one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
He's another one of those guys that it feels like has done the level up thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that'll be the difference in a Green Bay win, but I'll take 6.5 for Chicago all day.
Speaking of great quarterbacks, my buddy just happened to text our group chat. Burrow's 8-0 in his last 8 starts.
Is he really?
Yeah. The last 8 games Burrow's been in, they've won 8 of all of them.
Tell you what,
he's an unbelievable player.
Might be a good thing for the Steelers and Ravens that Burrow missed so much time, and it took Cincinnati so long to stabilize their defense.
Yes.
In Arizona, it's the Rams. Tickets as low as just $20. The Rams 8.5 point favorites against the Cardinals.
I'm going to take the Rams just because they lost last week.
Totally.
I think they come back strong.
On the road.
It is in a division game.
But they did not play their best last week.
Yeah. It was announced today that Kyler Murray's not going to play again this year.
Kyler Murray was out for the rest of the year. Yep.
Harrison's not playing this game. I think they've kind of cashed it into and just not going to beat people up. Benson's not coming, hasn't been back. I don't know if they're going to rush him back at this point.
And the Rams now, they know if they want to get that 1 seed, they've got no more room for error after falling to the Panthers last week. I'm with you. 8.5 is a big number for a road team. Big number for a road team.
I don't think Arizona's horrible, despite their record.
I'll lay the 8.5 with the Rams. That might be another one of those that I would try and tease and get it down to 6.5. But yeah, I feel confident that the Rams come out and play very well.
Yeah, I expect them to.
In a convincing victory against the Cardinals. And then finally, Sunday night, it's right there with Steelers-Ravens, right there with Chicago, Green Bay in terms of playoff implications this weekend. Houston at Kansas City, an elimination game, maybe. Houston,
I think for KC it is.
For KC it certainly is. For Houston, it's probably pretty close. Matt, this one wild to me, and I understand there's 2 huge factors at play here. The first is it's a night game.
Yeah,
okay?
At Kansas City, right.
Costs a lot of money to have season tickets.
Oh, you're talking about what it costs to get in.
Costs a lot of money to have season tickets. Because of that, it's a lot of older people who have season tickets because they can afford them, and they don't like night games.
They don't want to go.
We
Okay.
see that in Pittsburgh.
Sell those ones, yeah.
Big correlation to. Listen, I don't mean to dime anybody out here, okay, but I'm going to do it. That's like the with all due respect, but here comes me saying something disrespectful.
Really, all right.
Yes, there was always going to be a lot of Packers fans at that game because they're a massive fan base that travels well and wanted to see Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But if that was a 1:00 game, there wouldn't have been nearly as many old tenured season ticket Steelers holders that put their tickets up because they don't want to go to an 8 o'clock game because it's too late, it's past bedtime, and I don't want to get home at 1 a.m. I would say if that's your mindset, give up your tickets because that's part of the commitment. But different conversation for a different time.
And I certainly understand the logic of I'm going to sell one or two to pay for the rest.
I don't.
I mean,
but I'm also
I'm
also a sicko who believes in supporting my teams, and you don't.
I'm sure you'd never do that for WU. Yeah, right.
No, and we stink. We don't have a fraction of the history that the Pittsburgh friggin' Steelers have. And also, WVU plays 6 home games a year. That's it. The Steelers play 8, maybe 9 home games a year. Like, you don't get to do this very often.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't believe in buying I realize making money and knocking the hustle and capitalism and all that. But, like, I hate people that buy concert tickets. I'm going to buy Taylor Swift tickets for face value in the Ticketmaster lottery with no intention of going. I'm just going to flip them to make money. Like,
okay, yeah.
Like, when I can't go to WVU games, I give the tickets to my parents or a family member. I'm not trying to sell them to make money. Like, but anyways, I digress. Just $35 you can get into this one.
Wow, I thought it was going to be super expensive.
And
it's
I
a huge
think
game.
it's a combination, though, of older people don't like night games.
Yeah.
And Kansas City's played in a kajillion big games. Like, I get it with their fan base being a little, we're not that good. It's December. It's cold. It's a night game. I don't want to go. But I would still say that that's pretty lame from Kansas City's perspective. You've had the best team in the world for 7 straight years.
Yeah, and it's a crucial game.
Show up for your team. Don't throw those tickets online because it's cold and it's late. But again, not everybody's as diehard of a dork as I am. I get that. Kansas City, a 3.5-point favorite at home against Houston.
Houston's better.
I think right now.
Yeah, I'm a big Houston believer. And it all starts with their edge rushers, of course, and their defense. But the Chiefs have banged up tackles. Neither starter might play. Their O-line in general is a problem. They struggle against man coverage, which Stingley, et cetera, is going to be tons of. I think their offense is getting better, Houston's.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's missing something on defense, or an edge rusher away or something like that. But there is this Mahomes back against the wall. I think that's why the number is what it is.
No doubt. And they, as much as I've kind of been critical of them these last few weeks, I still get that. They've
earned that.
They've earned that.
If this was Brady or,
as much as I don't agree with it, like I might have Houston as a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah.
They've earned it.
I almost said at a neutral field, I think Houston's favored.
Or at least to pick them.
And I would definitely pick them at a neutral field, and I'm going to pick them here with the points.
I am too.
I like what they're doing.
I like what they're doing. I think the offense has vastly improved from where they were in September, and I think the defense has been one of the, if not the best units in the league the entire season.
I put a couple bucks yesterday on
City.
Houston to go to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Because it still pays a lot.
Crazy.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're not even guaranteed to go to the playoffs.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Not to win the Super Bowl, to win the AFC.
To go. I think the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl.
To win the AFC, pardon me. But
right.
yes.
But I think whoever the NFC representative is probably going to be
That's
favored.
where I would put my money right now, but a lot can certainly change between now and early February. But that's our thoughts on the Week 14 slate across the league.
Some big ones.
Some huge ones,
yeah.
But the biggest of them all might be Sunday, 1 o'clock, M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, where the Ravens are now a 6-point favorite against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We will predict that one, how it plays out, final scores, all that on the other side before we get up out of here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment of the week, final segment of this Friday, and we have to give our final thoughts and predictions for the Steelers and the Ravens a massive one between these two massive rivals. Before we do that, though, Matt, we discussed the Steelers injury report earlier. Now we got to do the good journalistic integrity thing, fair and balanced coverage. And obviously, we also want to know what Baltimore's looks like.
Yeah, there's a couple that are looming that I'm curious about.
And they got pretty good news
Did they?
on those. Everyone is good to go except for Tavius Robinson, who was in that 21-day window, and Adarius Washington, who was in that 21-day window.
Okay, I know they were kind of hopeful in Washington, but he'd be their fourth safety at this point too. I mean, they did stuff to.
That's
adjust
not a
for
massive
him.
loss for them. But like, there was questions about Rashad Bateman. He's good to go. No
Wiggins
injury
was the one
status.
I was really paying attention
Higgins, no injury
Yeah.
status. Full participant, no designation. Travis Jones, the defensive lineman.
That's big. He's
Good-
a big run stuffer.
Good to
tough
go.
guy, right?
Lamar Jackson, good to go. Ronnie Stanley, good to go. Devontae Walker, good to go. So
Okay.
pretty good news for the Steelers, I think, other than Duggar popping up this week. And
Both teams healthier than I would have
and
guessed.
very good
all in
news.
all.
Very good news for Baltimore. Unfortunately.
You gonna make your pick first?
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about it. I think I'm taking Steelers +6. I'll be upfront about that.
So I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I have a rule that I just take the points in this game. But anytime these two teams match,
I think it's smart.
I was joking on my other podcast. I'm like, if this game's in 2029, give me the points. 2035, give me the points. I don't even know who's playing or who's
2006,
coaching.
give me the
Right.
points.
Give me the points.
I'm going to go, man, I am going to take Baltimore to win. I think that they've had better news in the health department this week. And I think them being at home, they just, the last few times, and maybe it's because I've been there, but it has not gone the Steelers' way the last couple of times we've stepped into that stadium. And the only other time this season I picked against the Steelers, they went and won the game. So maybe there's some good juju there. Give me 23-20 Baltimore.
Okay.
22-19.
What is the current spread?
Something weird. Ravens favored by 6.
Okay, because I actually have it as a 6-point game, but it's fluctuated all week, like more than any of the game.
I'm going to go TV for the graphic. I'm going to go something weird. Give me 23-19 Baltimore.
Okay.
As
I
much
could
as
see a weird score. That
Much
could
as
be a
I-
defensive
much
score.
much as I hate to say it. Yeah, or someone ends up going for 2, or there's a missed extra point, or just something wonky.
I could definitely see that. I picked it earlier in the week, 20 to 14.
Okay.
The spread has changed back and forth. I'm always like, give me the points. I guess that would be a push. So I guess I still would take the points. I think the Ravens are playing better. They're not the Ravens of old.
I think the rest advantage is key for me in this one,
That's what I was
too.
going to say. I really, as many snaps as the Steeler defense and the time of possession and just getting run on and the defense being on the field for 1 million plays just a few days ago.
Yeah.
I think a rest advantage in their building with a physical game, no matter what, is going to be a physical game. I think that's a big problem. And it does. The practice reports don't indicate this, but it makes me wonder, could Lamar start to look like Lamar with 3
I really
more
hope
days?
not,
You
but
know
I'm
what I mean?
concerned about that.
Yeah, it just seems like that'd be just our luck,
Right,
that
right.
kind of thing, right? And frankly, I mean, Steelers haven't played well. I mean,
No.
they're coming off a terrible game.
Back-to-back
Right,
losses.
right.
And yeah, and I realized Baltimore didn't play well, but at least they had a few extra days to flush that
Right.
and get right. And
They
yeah,
at least strung some wins together against not great teams before that loss.
well, Matt, the only other time this year that you and I have both picked the Steelers to lose was the Colts game.
I say I've been very bad with my picks lately. So
And
I hope
you and I
I'm
both
wrong.
thought the Cowboys would take
I mean,
the
my
cake
Steeler
last
picks in
night, but
particular.
Steelers in particular.
I thought they'd sneak one out against the Bills. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've picked wrong the last couple weeks on them.
Well,
So hopefully I'm wrong.
Hopefully we're picking wrong when we're back here on Monday to recap this thing, but you do know we will return and chat with you, win, lose, or draw for the Steelers. We'll be back Monday to break it all down here on SNR. Big thanks to all of our guests this week. The great Missi Matthews today. Big shout out, as always, to our video producer, Tyler V, Mr. TV, for keeping us handsome on YouTube. And a big thank you to Matt Williamson for bringing it, as always, throughout this week. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. And you know where to find us on Monday. As always, it's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.